Hey, Ursula here. We're looking at one bed at a time because that's all we can manage right now is one bed at a time. So that's where I'm at. We did get some nasturtiums in. It's very dry. We're going to have a very dry season this summer. And so any plant that's a wet plant is not gonna really care for this too much. So Mediterranean is in, I guess. I've got chamomile back here. Now after I put the chamomile in, the green bells of Ireland that I planted came up. At least I think that's what those are. It could just be more borage because we have a lot of borage growing in here. I said, we'll see if these things survive. It is really dry. Well, I got this section weeded. I didn't really get it planted. It's really hard to beat this clay into actual soil. I put in a coreopsis in the corner. It may not have survived. This one does look like it might survive. And of course the sedum likes it here. And more nasturtiums. I ended up taking out, I planted a lavender in here. I ended up taking out the Santolina. It got too woody and it was dying. And they seem to have these little wasps flying around. Or maybe they're hornets. Not sure. They seem to go for the edges of leaves, but they look different than a paper wasp. This is the other Santolina bush. You can see some of it's not doing so great. The rest of it is doing better than the other one. The poppies I planted came up, which is yay. The entire row of red beets, not so much. I got two, I think. I just thought red beets would look good in here. They're more of a leaf-eating beet than a bulb. And then up in here, the deer got my amaranth. It might survive, it might not. My goal was to plant coral, burgundy, all the way down. But we'll see what happens. This is calendula and coreopsis. And the thyme is doing great because it's a Mediterranean herb. And now that I've got the thistle out, the summer savory is doing much, much better. And the Monarda is starting to recover, but not doing robust in this location this year. Let's take a look at the other side. So this is what happens when the lavender gets too woody. It just really dies out. It just has two sprigs, one over here and one in the back that are alive. It's just dying. I'm not sure if I can try to root a section, if it'll actually take. That would be nice. This is white lavender, and I'm now seeing a paper wasp. They like this section. Turns out I have a lot of dill came up in one spot, and the rest is just weeds. I got to get those out of there. I have a mustard blooming. Coltsfoot took over. These are beds that have not been touched. They need work. But one at a time. One at a time. My mystery plant here, turns out it's welled. I had grown it on the other side and it went to seed. And that right there is welled. Behind it is some blue fescue grass ornamental. And then next to it is Coreopsis, and this needs to come out. This bush is going to get cut right at the base, and we'll be able to get some plants put in right behind it. Meanwhile, this is the other lavender that got woody. It has a few blooms on top. I had planted a different kind of poppy in the back, but all I ended up with was borage from last year. And it turns out maybe possibly one of the reasons is the rabbit lives down there. There's a small bunny. It likes to hop out. Goes under whoever's parked here. Likes hiding under the car. And it goes over there to eat. So it's back and forth every day. So it hasn't bothered the garden hardly at all. There's a few plants I think it got at, but that could also have been a deer. There are 5 deer we're currently feeding. Not that we want to, but they live here. Or they think we have the best tasting yard in town. Sage is in full bloom. Those are wild mustard. This is borage all through here. That's a bumblebee friend. Hey, Mr. Bumble. Oh, so tasty. So let's take a look at what's going to get done up here. Today I actually cleared this path. It was totally overgrown with coltsfoot, and I took everything to the back to mulch it. But you can see this whole section here is coltsfoot. The fig came back. We were kind of surprised. It was a weird winter, so we weren't sure. And you'll see some amaranth down here. It's not in the ground yet. This is just me playing with where I want to plant it. The idea being I want, again, alternating the burgundy, then a coral, then a burgundy, then a coral, then a burgundy. And that's what I want to get done tonight. We still have plenty of skirt in here, fighting it out with the borage. But that is tonight's work. This was a couple days ago. I did this section. These are foxglove. I've been working on the rhubarb. You see all the leaves there. I harvested rhubarb, and this year I canned rhubarb juice, and I made a pie. In another couple weeks we might harvest some more. What we're hoping for and waiting on are these cucumbers back here. They're cornichons. And then in front of those I planted more leeks. They're really small yet though. When they get bigger, they'll look like this. So this bed is done. This is Monarda. It's the red one. It's doing really well, and I'm really happy with it. Behind it is curly dock that needs to come out, and then there is actually some coneflower behind that, and I'm hoping to add some yarrow in here. There's a whole section. I took out rhubarb that was growing along the fence. You couldn't even see it. There was so much grass in here. And then this is a currant bush. So I guess we could take a look at this bed real quick here. We still have columbine for this time of year. That's a little unusual, but some of it's gone to seed. You can see right down there. That's asparagus. That is blackcurrant, hellebore, and then I missed setting up my fence post when I could still pound it in. The ground is too hard now, but I did get in some Napa cabbages and some beets. Of course, we have more columbine, and right on the corner is a little bit of parsley, and in the back is a coral bell. I'm going to take a quick look at the blueberry patch. This is a honeyberry here. And weeding needs to happen back there. That is actually part of a path. It should not be that overgrown. Hiding behind the garlic is where the path is. We had some volunteer fennel, garlic. We'll have more columbine here next year. Some of our strawberries. Blueberry. Although there's maybe a sow thistle or something in the middle of that one that needs to get pulled. My gnome is hiding back there. Just look at all those blueberries. And this is a parsnip that's going to seed. It's really tall. That's about 4 feet. And of course, as ever, borage. We have a volunteer sunflower back there. And the roses are in bloom. And so are the elderberries. That might be a later this afternoon project to harvest a few of the flowers and dry them. Valerian is in bloom. A little bit more rhubarb. This is the whole currant section. These are red currants on the end, black currants in the middle, although they're not black yet. Not black yet. And red currant on the end. So that's our complete circle. The tree behind it is dying. Very little left of it that's alive. This is a section I completed this week. I have my amaranth all the way down the line. You can see in the mulch path. And then there's a volunteer sunflower. Some coreopsis. Some are hiding in the back there. There's a pineapple sage. And then we had a celery. Just randomly grow here. Just 'cause. So, there's Mrs. Gnome. She's a little shy. More celery. In here I put in one of the coral amaranths, and behind that I've got rows of leeks. We'll see how they do. This is a little more sun than I think they like. And then down here is a coreopsis I found that reseeded around the yard somewhere that just, it wasn't a good place for it. So there you have it. That's what we got going on in the front yard today. Apple tree's been fenced off. I guess I should show you apples now before the deer or anything else get them. This is a Liberty apple. And at the base, this is where the deer got a few. I have a Long Island cheese pumpkin. That's where they ate. And that is a Hubbard squash. I think I have 2 of them. There was supposed to be another one down there, but I think the deer got that one too. Either the deer or the rabbit. It's hard to say. Most of the potatoes are up and doing well, but there are a few bags where there's nothing in it, and I gotta wonder if the squirrels didn't just replant those, and those are where I got all the tomatoes in the backyard, or potatoes in the backyard. The ones alongside the house that I planted early, they're doing the best. Take a quick look at all the work I have yet to do. Like I said, one bed at a time. These are the rest of the amaranth. I still have no idea what these guys are, but I'll have to look up what I planted. A strawberry planter behind that. Some indigo. So we have some chamomile and some yarrow in here. This one has scabiosa and some snapdragons, which something ate one and pulled the pot out, flipped it. These are alpine strawberries, and hiding in the back is Munstead lavender. The tomatoes are sad. They either need to go into bigger pots or into the ground. See, I have more herbs back here. Everybody needs to be planted, but like I said, one bed at a time. The basil is hanging out up top, and those are hollyhocks. So a lot of work to do. Anyway, happy gardening, everyone. Have a good summer.